show something about myself. Of course, not so much, but so just like I'm with the IT industry from past 16 years, and more of almost 5.5 to 6 years on to DevOps and AWS. So I've done my engineering from University of Mysore, and a few certifications which I have is Solution Architect Associate, ITIL Expert Level, and COBIT, Agile Practitioner, and DevOps Coach. Of course, DevOps Coach was given by our company. So that's about me. So right now, like my sort of passion is to teach, in particular DevOps, AWS, Linux. So what ITL, last month I gave ITL training to few students from Bangalore and Delhi. So whatever comes, I will try to take and try to be helpful to my students. So like as you see, like we have trained multiple teams across worldwide regions. It's not just about our Bangalore teams. So it's like Australia, Indonesia, whoever wanted to implement DevOps and AWS onto their applications, we used to train them, and we have seen a lot of success stories from each of those teams. So that's about me. So if you can just briefly introduce yourself each, just like your name and what you're doing, and what you want to see the output from this particular training. Yeah.
Hi, myself is Kiran speaking.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
basically I'm from like commerce background.
Okay.
So like now I'm like very much interested for IT. So I thought of moving for AWS and DevOps.
Okay.
So like in future I want to be like I want to switch my career for IT profession.
Very good. Very good. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Welcome. Welcome, Kiran. So next, somebody else. Uh, who is this iPhone? I can see the name as iPhone. Hello. Are you able to hear?
Hi, sir.
No, you're able to hear us, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wondered, I mean, others I see on the list of participants, can they just introduce themselves?
Hi,
I don't know their
hi,
names.
hi, sir.
Yeah.
This is Abhi.
Okay.
I'm doing a master's from in Geetam University.
Okay.
I heard about lot about DevOps, and I'm interested
o-
to learn DevOps and AWS.
Okay.
So I want to switch from I want to switch to DevOps.
Okay. So, but
That's why.
basically you're already into IT, right? Or still
No,
doing
sir.
your,
Yeah, basically my bachelor's from mechanical.
okay, okay. So you're doing masters now.
Yes, sir. In
Great.
data science, I'm doing my master's.
Very good, very good, very good. Yeah, please
That's it.
welcome. And
Okay.
anybody else on the call want to introduce themselves? Okay, let's wait, and we'll go about the whatever we have to do about training. Okay, you're able to see my screen now? All?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first, let me, before we enter any of our DevOps topics, so just wanted to share the course content, what we will be going through the course once we start the full-fledged training for this DevOps certification or DevOps course. So basically, of course, I just want to take you through the EC2 walkthrough for AWS, because we will be using uh, AWS a lot while training. So that is the platform in which we are going to do all our experiments, whatever new tools we want to use. And one by one, we'll be going through the installation of all these DevOps tools. So we'll start with Git, Docker, and Jenkins, Ansible, Kubernetes, and Docker. Yes, of course, whatever is mentioned here, we will install one by one as the course will progress. And these are the subtopics what we'll be able to discuss in the during the course. So basically, to know what software development is, software lifecycle, and traditional models of SDLC, and why we need to go with DevOps. What is the benefit of using DevOps model for our software life cycle, bringing about any change in your present application or start with a new project, why DevOps is very much required in the present scenario. So wherever we go, any company, particularly the new startups, everybody is going with the DevOps. So that is the rules they have made themselves. So unlike including big companies like IBM, HP, HPI, and HPE, everybody is coming out and trying to be part of DevOps, introduce and implement a DevOps method in their applications, projects, any new projects that are coming for the clients, they want to go through the DevOps culture. So that's why we need to discuss about DevOps, what DevOps is, and of course, what are all the tools that are required for trying to achieve the success, whatever you want to achieve for this particular project or application. So whatever we are trying to deal with. So that's about, so testing, we will discuss something about testing and why continuous testing is required, how to create continuous pipeline for testing also, along with your developmental process. So how testing can be automated, we can do that. So the testing time. So basically testing requires a lot of time in the real waterfall model. So we'll discuss what waterfall model is once we go through the applications and the training course. So we will understand why time has to be given more importance and why client has to be given more important. Basically, I'm talking about the customer satisfaction. So the lead time. So there is something called as lead time for every project. So whether it is a manufacturing company or a software company or a construction company. So lead time is basically they want to define it as a requirement is given to the project, and that requirement is processed and delivered back to the customer. So the end product has to be given in certain amount of time. So that is what they define it as lead time. So bringing the lead time to the minimal possible time. So that should be our main goal for any new framework, including DevOps. So whether we use ITIL or DevOps, COBIT, PMP. So there are a lot of frameworks available for us. So basically DevOps has trying to implement all the best practices from different frameworks. It's not just about one particular framework like Agile or whatever. So Agile best practices, Lean best practices, ITL best practices. Everything is taken into account when we think about DevOps. So DevOps is something new. It's a mixture of so many good frameworks and best practices out of those good frameworks. So that's how we can define or talk about DevOps. So as we go through the tools, one of the most important tool is Jenkins for CI/CD that we'll be discussing. And next is version control. Okay, let me just magnify this. Okay. So next is version control. We'll talk a bit about SVN, and we give more importance to Git and GitHub. So which is freely available for us, and we can make use of GitHub for as our source repository. Whenever we start a new project, we can put all our code into GitHub. From there, Jenkins will talk and take all the source code for compilation of your application, then puts the whole thing onto your production server or test servers, whatever we are trying to do during the course. So we will go through each of these tools. And next is we're talking about Docker itself. So when I say Docker, Jenkins, so it's like when we actually go through the course, it will be like mix of all these things. It's not like in the school or college, we go chapter wise, because when I am talking about Jenkins, we will be actually using Dockerized Jenkins. So you will know immediately what Docker is while discussing about Jenkins itself. So it's not, but going into the depth, we will go, of course, chapter wise, but all these tools will be sort of working together when we go through the different parts of our course, basically. So once we are done with Docker, we will be talking about Ansible, and which is a configuration tool, as well as you can use it for maintaining your applications, which is already running on your production systems. So like patching or application upgrade, application deployment, for all those things, you can use Ansible as a tool. So then we'll go through Kubernetes, which is a wonderful tool, orchestration tool, which uses Docker and whatever is required so that your whole application, which we define it as microservices, will be running on Kubernetes cluster. So we will see how we can bring up the Kubernetes cluster onto our AWS environment, and how many nodes is required for your application. Such decisions we will take and create the right cluster required for us. So, and we'll see how deployment is done, how service is defined. So basically you need a running application on your Kubernetes. Why Kubernetes? It is like a quick way of putting your application onto service, plus safe way, as well as what shall I say? Of course, if you already learned about AWS, you know about load balancing. Hope you have heard of load balancing. Basically about application availability is very, very high when we use Kubernetes for running your project and applications. So that's the basics about Kubernetes. And of course, last is like Terraform, which we call it as infrastructure as code. So hope you have heard about Terraform, and we'll be discussing about Terraform basics, some modules, and try to know more about Terraform, how to use Terraform to like deploying resources onto your AWS, particularly EC2 or RDS, whatever is required, including starting from the basic VPC, so which is your virtual private cloud, which you can use it as your own data center, basically. So into this VPC, we'll try to bring up few EC2 instances, and if an RDS background is required, you can bring up an RDS, or within the EC2, you can have multiple Dockers running for us. So we'll see how Terraform can help us to do all those things. So this is about the course, what we are discussing here. So if anything has to be added here, we will discuss and try to add it, maybe like Puppet or something. Okay. So far, any questions on the course content? Kiran, Abhi, whoever has joined?
No.
No, sir.
Okay. Fine. Okay, so now let's just go through a few slides. So again, welcome to the DevOps training and demo for 2021. So already discussed who I am. So I will just take you through few slides, which might be helpful, and also, what the course has to give back to you for whatever time you're investing here. So like I said, in the first session, basically it's about like, usually the sessions stands out like to be 3 to 4 hours. So since it's a demo, we can't go through the everything, whatever we are seeing here. But once we actually start the sessions, this will be our plan for each day. So each session you will have something like what we are going to today, and see that we will try to complete whatever we have planned for. So this is what I was discussing about. I will just, of course, already know about EC2, what AWS is, why we need to use cloud. So all those things we'll just touch upon and go to the actual DevOps. Okay. So, and this is also very important for us, all the participants. Minimum, they should have this AWS free tier account, one GitHub account, and one Docker Hub account. So hope if you have not yet done all these things, make sure that once we start the actual sessions, make sure that you people have this ready with you. So you should need to have your individual accounts for each of these tools or cloud. So GitHub is, again, we use it as a source code management tool, and Docker Hub to push our images, whatever we create, and also pull the required images from Docker Hub, which is freely available on Docker Hub as public repositories. Okay. Environment. Okay. So again, like why we need cloud computing. So basically, why we are discussing more on cloud is most of the DevOps practices, it's more inclined towards the cloud environment rather than on-premises, because in on-premises you can't have the basic cloud benefit of elasticity. So what I mean by elasticity is in your own data center, like suppose you have got 10 servers in your data center now. Suppose you want one more or two more servers, immediately you can't bring them, give licenses, all those things takes a lot of time. So which is not so when we are working with the cloud environment. So elasticity, capacity, and quick and easy deploy CPU availability and memory. You can use it for one more application if required, and also automation within your AWS environment. So that is also very easy. So that's about cloud computing. So next we actually like talk more about our DevOps. So any basic idea till now you people have about DevOps? I know you have heard about DevOps. Maybe one person can talk whatever he knows about DevOps. So I just want this to be an interactive session. I mean, not only this, all the sessions will be interactive. I want my participants and friends to be more talkative as much as I am talking now, so that ideas can be shared and any doubts you people have will be cleared as soon as possible. So before I talk about this particular slide, so I just want one or two people to just talk about DevOps, what they know about DevOps is. Anybody? It's not, even if you know just one sentence about DevOps is also fine, not an issue. I just wanted to know like where we all stand. Abhi, Kiran, or whoever is joined, I don't know who this iPhone is.
Okay, like according to my knowledge, when
Okay.
when I did some Google search and all, like
Okay.
it is a tool between it is a tool which will be helping for programming and for a developer. It will be acting like a middle like programming like that.
Okay. Okay. So anybody else? Abhi? Okay. Let's move forward. So I don't want to trouble you guys if you like very new.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a one methodology.
Uh-huh.
It will combine both developer and production team, and we can do the same thing at a time. First, developer will do the things, and it will send to the production team.
Okay.
And it will take a lot of time to test on that.
Okay.
So they merge both the developer team and the production team.
Okay.
Like production team means operation, we could do testings.
Okay, got it.
And the term as DevOps like that.
Okay. So yeah, good. Okay. So like as the terms, what you see here, DevOps, it is already having two parts. One is development team and other thing is operations team. So when we say development and operations team, it includes all the IT teams. It's not just about a development team, which is just doing the coding part. So development and operations will involve development team manager, leads, and testing QA teams, and operations. So within operations, you have got DBA teams, network teams, and the actual transition teams, which will move this developed code to the production servers. So a lot of teams are involved. It's not just about two teams. So basically, like what DevOps will do is bring down the walls between these two teams. So when I say walls, not the actual walls, it is sort of virtual walls where development team is not interested in what operations team is doing or what QA team is doing. So once he is done with his job, he will push it to testing team and say, okay, my job is done. So my job is done, I am happy. So that's not the case in DevOps. So it's a continuous process where everybody is involved at the same time and make sure that the final product or the final applications which you are going to deliver to your customer is stable and the customer will be happy. And of course, like I told already about the lead time, the time has to be given more importance, and as much as possible reduce the lead time so that customer will keep on coming with new requirements, new business to your group. So whatever organization you have joined, so whether it is a big or small startup, doesn't really matter. So any organizations or company needs to have continuous good business, good requirements from clients so that everybody is occupied and even the company as a whole is doing well, so that even employees can be happy with whatever hike they get, whatever good work they get. So it's a big picture what DevOps is about. So I will just take you through the basics, what we know about DevOps is. So like we say, Azure is it's a big triangle with a big base. So as you see in this, what shall I say, the basics, that is the first part of your main triangle is mindset and culture.
Yeah. So sorry for disturbance, but we're not able to see your screen. Screen is not visible.
Sharing, I was sharing, let me try, okay. Zoom.
Only that PDF is available. Yeah, now we can see.
Oh my God, you are telling this so late, man. I already
Okay.
through so many slides. Okay.
But it was not displaying.
No issues. Okay. Sorry. I am sorry. I should have asked you first. So, okay. So this is what I was talking about, plan for a day. So each session will have all these details, what we are going to achieve in this session. So usually the session stands for 3 to 4 hours, depending on whether it's a weekday or a weekend. And of course, like I said, you people need to have these prerequisites ready when we start the sessions. So one is AWS free tier account and one GitHub account and one Docker Hub account. So you can just enter in your Google GitHub and say GitHub login. So it will ask you for a registration. You can give your email ID or whatever name you want. You will get registered and you can start using GitHub. I will show how to use GitHub. You just see that you people have the login to all these accounts, including Docker Hub. So Docker Hub also, you can just search for Docker Hub and look for Docker Hub login. So it will ask for a new registration. You register yourself and have the login ready for you. So log in with password and make sure that your password is quite strong. Of course, you should be knowing all these things by now. Okay, so then I was just discussed about why we need cloud computing. So like you see, elasticity is the main benefit what we have in AWS. So, and a lot of resources like load balancers, network, everything is managed by the AWS teams. So we don't have to worry about network going down within AWS and load balancer is not working. All those things is sort of auto scaled when you start using them. So whenever something is problem within their environment, they will take care. So for us, our only goal is bring our new applications, new projects onto AWS, quick and easily deploy them into AWS environment, and then your whole application will be facing the world, and people outside of your environment can start using your applications. That is a big idea about cloud computing. And of course, there is no initial investment, not much. Anybody can manage. And good thing about cloud is we'll pay as we go. So that is whatever you are using, you are paying, not for all the services which they provide. Whatever services you are using, and few services are free. So you can take advantage of that. And other services will be usually like so many dollars per month or so many GB, and per GB so much of dollars when it comes to storage. And for EC2 and other resources, that is computing resources, it will be like per hour so much of dollars. So usually like it will be as low as 0.05 or $0.15 per hour, depending on all the instances which we select. So, and also in AWS environment or any cloud environment, automation and reusable components is more compared to our on-premises data centers. So when we say cloud, of course, you must be already knowing about VPCs and other resources which we have to configure so that we will have our own virtual data center ready for us. It's basically our own company in cloud. So that's it. So finally, I was talking to you about DevOps. Okay, so for everybody, it's now visible, okay?
Yes.
Guys? Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Okay, so like, let me just make it big. So as you see in the bottom of our DevOps triangle, we see something called as mindset and culture. So this is very important because, of course, you people are quite young and you don't know, maybe you already enter a DevOps environment when you go to the company. But there are few old companies like HP, IBM, Oracle, Accenture, Mindtree, which always followed a model called waterfall model in their own process of bringing about the applications and give back to the clients whatever the requirement they wanted. So with so many frameworks, finally people are now stuck with DevOps, and because DevOps is helping them a lot to achieve their goals well within the promised time to the clients. So basically, to come to the DevOps culture itself, you need to have a basic mindset attitude change. Because like I was just discussing, everybody works as a single team here, which was not so during the other models what we discussed, including ITIL. And even ITIL defines different teams, different cycles, like development cycle, transition and operations, testing, everything is different even in ITIL. And so what DevOps is doing is they bring the whole group. Suppose there is an application called, say, let me say Elastic Path. It's a big application actually. So just for the example I am giving. So to give Elastic Path to the customers, the Elastic Path company, it's a company which is getting the software outside to the world. So Elastic Path as a company has many number of teams within its own IT department. So like development team and operations, QA team, network team, and there is a database team. So you name it, which is part of IT, the team should be available for the Elastic Path company to properly work and see that their customers are happy. So to do that, once they go for DevOps methods, there's to make sure that for one particular segment of your application which you are trying to develop, whatever teams are required for this has to be on the same page. So when a same page means they should be working together to meet whatever goal has been defined for this particular application. So like, for example, it has to be stable and it has to be given in 2 weeks or whatever time frame they have defined, and there should be no bugs. Of course, it's a very idealistic way of talking, but less bugs, the better, so that client should not come back telling that something is not working with this application. So when you want to do that, basically we need to change the mindset of all the teams involved. So first, get your executive team to agree for the development changes or whatever team changes we require. So once you do that with global optimization of the whole organization, will be ready for your change of culture. Yes, from waterfall model, will now everybody will lean and work towards DevOps methods. So that should be mindset of all the teams. So once that is achieved, so it can be done through small trainings and show them some demos how the DevOps works, so that they will, yes, this is something new and this will work for our applications and whatever projects we have taken. So that should be the idea behind your trainings. So basically the outcome of this is there is continuous improvement of value stream. I will talk about value stream later. So just try to know what, stick with me for some. And basic next is principles and patterns, which is required for a DevOps team to be successful. So basically we are talking about patterns, and first let us talk about principles. So there will be a fast flow of feedback from each team to each other. So whenever QA teams finds a bug, immediately it is given to development team, and development team within matter of hours, basically that's how the DevOps should work. The bug will be corrected and sent back to again QA team for testing. So it's not like earlier it used to take weeks together for this process to happen. So now it has been reduced to hours, so that you are well equipped with your process to be competitive in the market. So that is the basic idea of DevOps. So have a bit of good competition and make sure that your team is the fastest to give what the client wants. So that should be our idea. So once you keep getting the feedback at a very fast flow, your whole team tends to be on a process called continuous improvement. So you keep improving whatever we want to do and whatever we want to achieve. And of course, when we say continuous improve, along that will be our learning phase. So each mistake we do, we learn more things. So it's not like DevOps is a perfect thing. We have to fail somewhere and then keep learning from that mistake, improve ourselves and go to the next stage. So continuous improvement of all the teams that are included there will be there. So next is patterns and practices. So here we will talk about value stream mapping, that is VSM, Kaizen methods, and MTTR, that is mean time to recovery. So whenever an application goes down, how much time your application or the application teams is taking before it can come back online and again start serving its purpose. So that is what MTTR means. So mean time to recovery is lesser the time, better is for the customers. So we don't want like Google to go down or YouTube to go down. So similarly, so the clients do not want their applications to go down as well. So for example, some selling and buying site is there like Amazon, Flipkart. So if it even goes down for 5 minutes, the loss will be huge for those companies. So I'm talking about something like that. So MTTR has to be seen for each application. So that is again like done through a lean method called value stream mapping. And of course, other practices like what I was talking about is ITIL, agile methods, which we use those frameworks to make sure that whatever we are trying to do as team, we will do it in the best way possible and make sure that we achieve our goals. So that's about patterns, practices. Of course, when I say practice, agile methods, ITIL methods, infrastructure as code, and how much monitoring we have in place. And of course, when we say monitoring, security is part of that. We should be secured enough so that there is no data theft or somebody stealing our passwords. All those things should not be happening in that application so that there is no security threat. And of course, trying to automate whatever process is possible. That is the goal of DevOps. So any process, any practice which is already there, what we are doing, it has to be tried and made automated. So that is where we come up with the DevOps culture and DevOps methods. So next and last, as you see in the diagram, is the tools. So unless these four things are already with us, data about all these other four, like culture should be good, principles should be in place, patterns and practices, what we are doing already, which is the best practices. Then finally, it is the tools which will help us to automate all these other parts, like practices, patterns, principles, whatever you want. You can automate this process and see that your development till it goes to the final product is fine and automated in most of the ways, and your customers are happy with the time in which they are getting back their requirement done. So whenever they want some changes, if we can give it within 2 days instead of the earlier 20 days or 3 weeks, I think client will be very, very happy, and he will always look for companies which will give him the required changes at a very fast pace. So whoever is good enough, whichever company is good enough to give their clients at a fast rate, whatever changes are required, they will win in the market. So that is the final thing about the whole DevOps is. And as you see, the tools which we are going to learn in our course, most of the tools we'll be discussing: GitHub, Git, Jenkins, Ansible. Of course, cloud is already taken care by you people. I think most of you are on AWS training. And of course, Teams, that is sort of just like Zoom, one more tool. And Slack is there, Agile management. So all those things, one by one, we will try to know more about it, as well as whatever practices, patterns I have already talked about. When and where required, we will just relate it to these practices and patterns when we go through each tool we are discussing, and we'll see how it is going to help us to touch upon all these practices and patterns so that we are on the right track doing the DevOps methods and DevOps culture. So that's about initial talk about DevOps. So next I'll just show life cycle which is involved for DevOps. Like as you see, initially we start with this development process, test it, then deploy it into your production. So while all doing this, this releasing and monitoring is also very important. How to release it to your test environment or UAT environment, and finally production environment. So once you release and product is available for use, monitor that particular application and its related other resources like network, data usage, whether database is taking the load well. All those things should be monitored for this application. So with these monitored results, with the feedback of that, again, go back to your development team and tell them what is lacking or what is having issues. So again, they start their development process, improve the code, and or improve whatever is required, add more functionality to their applications. And again, the cycle starts with testing, deployment, and monitor. So this is how the life cycle goes with DevOps methods. Okay, so far, any questions, anybody?
Yeah, so like whatever the teaching you'll be doing right for us, it will be like on time scenario or what?
Yeah, we will take an applications. I will come to that actually, like, okay. Uh, everything, whatever we are saying, see, DevOps is not a tool, like somebody told initially. It's not a tool, it's a way of doing things, okay? So I just want you to be good enough in those DevOps basics so that you start learning about the tools, okay? So we will know why we are doing this. That is my basic idea behind this whole theory. So going forward, in each session, it will be just around 20 or 30% theory, and the rest 70% will be about on hands, whatever we are talking about. So when we talk about Jenkins, from the installation uh, process, that is the first step is how to install your Jenkins and start working on Jenkins. So from there, everything will be online and on the AWS environment. It's not like I keep showing you slides. So for yes, because it's something new and more theory has to be discussed for DevOps. Okay. So otherwise, when we go to the next slide, like whatever we have, like Jenkins. So this is about content. Are you able to see the new PPT now?
I think it's opening.
Are you able to see Jenkins?
Oh no, it's
No?
yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So this is will be our next part of once we are done with the basic DevOps details. So next we'll starting with Jenkins and why you need Jenkins, how to run. So we'll immediately start with running your Jenkins as a Docker. So here itself, you will try to know more about Dockers, which we are going to discuss at a later stage in the course. Exactly what we are doing, what Jenkins does, and of course your basic architecture about how Jenkins master slave works. So as you see in this particular, so this is about slaves architecture. So you will have a Jenkins master. So depending on the load and number of applications which your company is doing, you can have a number of other slave nodes or worker nodes, what we call as. So basically the word slave is going out of usage because of so many issues. So we will try to use word worker node instead of that. So you can have a Windows worker node, a Linux worker node, or a Mac OS as worker nodes wherever you want. Of course, our AWS gives us just Windows and Linux, not the other OS, even if you want to. But in general, I'm talking how the master slave or master worker node architecture for Jenkins is seen. So let us, I know like you're worried about hands-on much. So don't worry about such things. Everything will be hands-on, whatever we are talking. And whenever we do the, when you say Jenkins, 80%, 85% of our work will be on the servers, and you'll continuously be working with the Jenkins tool. So it's not about much of theory there. But DevOps, yes, you need to know. Of course, I will share all these slides. Maybe Lalit or Bhaskar may be sharing all these things to you as slides going forward. So this is, but you need to know bit of theory before you start your practicals. So that is my idea here. So not that hands-on should be there. For DevOps, yes, there is no hands-on because DevOps is something as a theory you should know when you enter in the industry. Because in your interview, when you go for interview, first question will be, what is DevOps? So you should not talk about DevOps tools. You should talk what DevOps is first, and then finally talk about the tools that will be used to make DevOps success. So that is how the idea is. So, okay, so like just take you through quite quick enough here. So let me, whenever you people want, let me give more importance and more explanation for all these things. But as you see, what all will be part of DevOps and its culture. Okay. So destroy silos, of course, engage often, engage early. So these are all part of our culture. So when I say destroy silos, means each team should not be doing their own ideas, and like QA team is doing its own automation process and operations team doing its own automation process. That should not be there. It should be done as a single team. So every other team should know what is being automated and why it is being automated. So both is important, what and why. So, okay, and be open to options. Of course, final thing is stop blaming. So if something goes wrong, you can't blame that team, this team. It's an individual accountable team as a DevOps team as a whole. So it's a DevOps team should be taken the whole blame, and again, make sure that that mistake, whatever is been done has been corrected and move forward. So such things should be the basic culture. Okay, and involve everyone in core process and decisions, communicate with peers, ask questions. You need to keep asking questions. If you don't get what something is being done, ask them why this is being done. So you should know what is happening around you. So that when I say you, your team, so development team is doing something, as operations team, whatever team you are involved with should know what's happening on other teams, what they are doing, why they are doing. Okay. And of course, all these things and daily stand-ups, which is part of, again, agile process. Everybody should be part of this meeting to know what happened yesterday and what is planned for today. So that is very important in daily stand-ups. So we usually don't talk much about the future, what will happen day after tomorrow, what will happen next week, nothing like that. What happened yesterday means, did we achieve whatever was planned yesterday? And are we going to achieve whatever we have planned for today? So these are all part of agile culture as well as ITIL basics. So next is, again, I talked about automation in DevOps. So why automation? So basically machines, we know that they are good at doing same task over and over again. Unlike human beings, we might get bored or tired or whatever, but machines are very good at doing the same task. So that is where all these Jenkins, Ansible, all those tools will come into picture. And it will be consistent, whatever it performs, consistent, and we know the exact state what we are in. It is fast and efficient. So our coffee time, meeting time, everything won't matter for those tools. It keeps doing what it has been designed, and in a timely manner. If you can plan your automation timings like cron job or webhooks. We will see what all those things are once we start with the tools, and saves a lot of time. So for example, I mean, this is an example for one particular process. If we can save 10 minutes per day, over a year, it's almost 2.5 days. I know for students and youngsters, it might not be more, but for a company, this is very important because each day it is costing them. It will be in lakhs and lakhs of dollars. So if we can save 3 lakhs in a year for one process, they will be very, very happy. So I'm just giving a simple example here. So when we actually talk about DevOps, there are n number of processes, and that into say 10 or half an hour per day savings means huge benefits, cost benefits for the company. So everything is finally related to the cost to the company, and whatever it's paying or getting from the paid by clients, how much they're going to save, and how it works on their share prices. Everything is behind what the employees does as a team. Okay, so next is what all can be automated. So build. So when I say builds, development team has to compile their programs. Anybody know is from development background? No?
No one.
No one. Okay. So, okay. Okay. So building is basically like your a compilation of your source code and bring about your executable ready, which has to be deployed onto production. So that particular process can be automated. Deployments, deploying the whole executable onto the required environment, whether it's a test environment or UAT environment or your production environment itself. So next is your testing process can be automated. Monitoring has to be done for all your applications. That can be automated. And self-healing. Some service goes down, you can have jobs ready. So whenever some application goes down, manual intervention need not be there. Automatically, you can make sure that that service is up and running again using some self-healing jobs and processes that is required to do that. System configuration, that is take your Linux patches or Windows patches that can be automated. So these are all the parts of DevOps which has to be taken care when we say that our team is doing DevOps. So it's not just about using the tools. So if you fail on in all these, any one of these things, your whole process can fail. So that should not be given any chance. So of course, when we say DevOps, measurement, that is metrics, is very important to the DevOps team. So you should know exactly which stage you are, what are all the times that is taken care, why it is taking so much of time. So these are all the things which we'll discuss. But for you now, just to make like you people know how easy our Jenkins automation can be done, or so these are this is one application or one EC2 which is already has configured, but in the actual session we will start from the beginning and show that how Jenkins is done. But of course here Jenkins Docker, we have to bring it up here. I will just show how it can be done. So again, in Jenkins, why it is used, build, test, your package has to be moved, different stages are there. And finally, deployment has to be done by the Jenkins itself. And of course, much things are like code analysis using some other tools like there is something called as code analysis, which is X-ray or something in AWS and other third-party tools. So those things can be part of your Jenkins pipeline. So here, let me just show what I have already written here. I'll try to explain what each means. Okay. So you're able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what I use to connect to AWS. It's an Ubuntu package for Windows. I don't know what you want to use. Maybe you can use PuTTY or whatever, Windows OpenSSH, whatever you want. But this I find it as a very good tool for me to log into the servers in AWS. So I have to just change my IP address whenever required. I will be part of that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Docker, we already installed in this particular VM, that is EC2, what I'm talking about. So this is the EC2 which I have just started. So it's running now, and it's for a free tier account, charges will be less, but make sure that whenever you start your EC2, either you terminate or stop them before you log off, so that it won't be continuously charged for your account. So that is one thing I want to say. So don't lose much of money by running the instances just like that on there. So now let's do Docker PS, just like your Linux command ps-ef. We can say Docker PS. It shows whatever containers are right now running, and what are ports, when it was created, all those things. So right now, as you see, nothing is running. But when I say that okay, so what I did here is I just started a Docker using the command run, and as you see, -p, which represents the port. This is the host port, and this is the Docker port. So when we actually talk about Docker, you will know what I'm talking. So we are running this with -d, that is detached mode. So it just runs in the background. That is what it means. And it has a volume which is shared so that your data won't be lost. And next is you are defining the volume, that is Jenkins home, as variable /var/Jenkins_home. So this is a path within the Docker. And of course, you are trying to pull a Jenkins Docker image with the latest image required by us. So it is showing some big signature here. So we'll see what it is. So like initially we saw Docker PS command did not do anything for us. The same thing now. Yeah. Are you able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So right now when I say Docker PS, so basically it shows what processes within this Docker is running. So like you see, initially nothing was running. Now we have got a Docker running here as a container, and the Docker image is what we are using is Jenkins. So this is it. Your Jenkins will be up and running now. So this is what I was telling about ease of deployment, your applications as well as your tools. So everything can just happen with 1 or 2 commands. And so suppose now I go to this I will copy the IP address, start with a new tab, and I'll just go to 8080. So why 8080? Because it is running on host port 8080. That is host 8080 is mapped to 8080 of the Docker. So these things you will learn as we go through. But here, let me show. Okay, so this is your Jenkins dashboard. So that first we can have your Jenkins dashboard ready for yourself and start doing your pipelines or jobs, whatever we want to do in Jenkins. So I'll just show how one on a job which is already done. I will show what it is. And in a similar way, we can have actual pipelines done for your applications once we select an application. So as you see here, can you see a pipeline here? So this is how the pipeline script starts. So there is the stages, like one is build stage. And when you say build stage, there will be some compilation commands here, which the development team will give for you. And of course, next stage is test. Again, testing team will give some details how the application has to be tested. They will give a script or steps, include all those things here, and just run your pipeline and your build and test process is done for that application. So that's how that easy it is. So before going there, I will show like one more small demo, which is a job, which I have configured. So going forward, we will take an application, maybe a Node.js application, and see how it can be taken through all these steps, including Dockerizing it, use Jenkins for CI/CD pipeline, and maybe use Ansible and whatever tools we can use. We will try to demonstrate that. And so once this whole course is done, you will know exactly the whole process which the DevOps method will use and start using them, practice on it, and you will be ready for any good job that is available out there. Okay, so this one, actually this is a small command in Linux. Hope we have got some Linux background, guys. Hello. Kiran? Ravi.
Sir,
Hope you know about Linux commands.
no, sir.
Okay. Okay. I will just show here what it is. So this is about clearing your screen. So when I say echo is a command in Linux. So put it on to quotes. Hello. So did you see the result?
No, it's not.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So when I say echo within quotes hello, it gives me the output of hello. Okay. So
Okay.
same thing, I will do it on your Jenkins now. Can you see here? Jenkins, I have given this same command.
Yes, sir.
And this is the dashboard. I will go to demo 1 and just say build now. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you see this, I said echo world and it has given the output as echo world. Can you see that?
Okay. Hello world. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, and it says successfully created. So actually Jenkins is somewhere and your server is somewhere, but it's still talking to the server. Hope you're getting. So
Yes,
that's
sir.
how the Jenkins works. And uh, you can, like this, for your different environments, you can have a number of pipelines running. This is what I discussed in the other part. So this is how the timing is taken. See, build time can be like, it comes, depends on your number of steps involved to build the application. So when we actually go through the application, you'll know more about what this build stage is and what is the testing stage. And finally, there can be a deployment stage where we actually move the whole executable, whether it is a Java application or a Node.js application. We'll move it to the required production server and it starts running there without much manual interventions. So that's how it has to be planned, the whole DevOps tools. So we will see one by one. So that's for today. Actually, I just wanted to discuss about only DevOps, but since you people asked for some hands-on, I just took you through this Docker and Jenkins. So if I say Docker PS minus A, as you see, like right now, this is still running. And these are all the old containers which I already run on this particular server. So that also you can even start this or whatever is already running, you can just start back. But since you wanted a Docker demo, how Docker can be used, I again brought back one more container out there and it is running since 8 minutes and the status is up. So that's about the Jenkins Docker. So next, when we actually start the classes, we will see how to configure a Jenkins job, how to use GitHub as source code, because whatever we did, the whole source code will be part of your GitHub repository. So whenever we push some changes from your laptop to GitHub, automatically your Jenkins job should start. So that should be our final automation. So, and it will build, test, and deploy to the production server. So that is the whole picture. So other tools like I told Ansible, we'll see how we can use it for patching and maintaining our applications. And Docker itself, we will have a Node.js application with MongoDB and Mongo Express running on the background, and with the Node.js, you can make some changes in your application screen that will be pushed to the database, and database changes also you can see. So this is a small project which will, basically the whole thing will be a sort of project for us. The whole application or different maybe Java application will take for one more Kubernetes. Docker will, Jenkins, we will use it as a JS, that is Node.js application. So whatever is possible, you can also come up with your applications if we have something ready with you guys. So we will take that application as an example and take it through the DevOps process. So that will be what actually will be done. So if everything is fine, we'll be again talking soon. So thanks a lot, guys.